Hey, and welcome to Eat Out at Home, the podcast. This is the place for those who love cooking and creating connections through food. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn, and on this podcast, I share with you my favorite tips and tricks for enjoying life one bite at a time. If you're ready for today's episode, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's dive in. Hey, and welcome back to Eat Out at Home, the podcast. And today I want to talk about why cooking at home is the ultimate form of self-care, at least for me, and maybe, just maybe, as I share why I think cooking at home for yourself is a form of self-care, maybe you will be inspired to cook at home for yourself more or think about it through the lens of self-care. Now, I could argue that cooking for yourself is also a form of self-maintenance because I honestly don't think that self-care and self-maintenance are the same. And I think a lot of time there is overlapping or, self-care is viewed or self-maintenance is classified as self-care. But I think about self-maintenance as something like these are the basic things you need to do to ensure your well-being, your survival, right? Like you need to eat, you need to drink water, you need to bathe yourself, you need to sleep, you need to groom, different things like that, right? But when it comes to care, I feel like it's a level above maintenance that there's a little extra oomph that we place on it. And for me, cooking is one of those things. And I talked briefly before when I hear, I've heard over the years from teaching, thousands of people in cooking classes that one of their biggest hindrances or obstacles to cooking at home is time. One of the things that I've always said to myself, I said, Evelyn, if you're too busy to to cook for yourself, then you're probably busier than you ought to be. Now, that is no judgment to anybody else. There's different seasons of life that demand different things, but as a baseline, as a default setting, as my, normal levels, I want to be cooking at home for myself as the norm, and then things outside of that become the exception. And I view it as self-care for a myriad of reasons, whether I'm cooking or baking. But I think about the fact that there are actual mental health benefits to cooking and baking. I mean, if you're someone who bakes, you've definitely heard the phrase stress baking before. And what I love about, I'm not in love with the term, but what I love about stress baking is that it really does calm you down. There's something about having to be singularly focused, right? With baking, there's not a lot of multitasking you can do. And with baking, there's very little improv. I mean, unless you start learning like the science of all the ingredients and that, eggs do more than add structure and sugar does more than add sweetness. It also adds structure. Like once you get into that, then yes, you can go a little bit, off script, if you will. Shout out to Sola El Wally for off script. But in general, when you're baking, the decisions have already been made, and there's something about that just allows the brain to relax. I actually came across this reel maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it was this woman, and she was at an all-inclusive resort, and she was talking about how that the luxury of an all-inclusive resort is not so much that it's all-inclusive, is that she does not have to make any decisions, that she just gets to show up. The activities are planned, the meals are planned, she doesn't have to think about pulling out her card, she doesn't have to budget, she doesn't have to do anything. All she has to do is show up and be herself. And baking to me is sort of like that, right? That when you step into a baking formula, as we like to call it in the industry, not necessarily a recipe because it's so formulaic, it really allows you to kind of put your brain on autopilot and just follow the instructions, right? One of the things I told the owner of the dance studio that I go to that specializes in like ballet and jazz and Horton and tap, specifically for adults who either danced when they were younger, which was not me, or adults who've never danced before. I said, one of the things I love about coming to the studio, one of its like intrinsic benefits to me outside of, yes, it's great for movement and detoxification and all that, is that it's one of the few places in my life where I get to go and I don't really have to do a lot of decision making. I don't really have to think. Yes, I have to think about the moves and try to get my body to move in different ways. But I was like, as far as like what the workout's going to be, what the moves are going to be, what the music is going to be, what I'm going to do for this amount of time, how many reps, I don't have to think about any of that. I get to just show up and be told what to do. Baking is very similar to that to me. And so I view that as a form of self-care. But also when it comes to cooking, and I've talked about this in another episode, I'm just not sure which one you're going to hear first, is that when it comes to cooking and baking, it's a full sensory experience. It's very immersive, almost escapist, right? Because there are sounds, there are things you see, there are things you smell, there's taste, there's texture, there's all of these different things. There's temperature, there's all of these different senses that are being stimulated that can really relax the mind, that can really relax the body. And there's also been scientific evidence to prove that making something with your hands, something very tactile and tangible, I don't care if it's gardening, kneading bread dough, chopping vegetables, flour arranging, woodworking, painting, right? Installing pipes, whatever, doing hair, painting nails, coloring. There is something about it that is so beneficial to the human brain. And cooking is one of those things where it's like built into our day-to-day needs that we can tap into this self-care resource that's built into our survival, essentially. And so I'm always mindful when I feel like my life is starting to get busy, where cooking starts to feel like, man, how long is that going to take? I mean, I don't know. And it's like, whoa. That is an indication for me that I'm headed towards exhaustion, potentially bordering on burnout, when I get too busy to care for myself through the art of cooking. And so that is when I start looking at, okay, what have I taken on? What needs to come off the list? Who or what else can do this for me, right? So maybe I'm in a busy season where it's like, I still want to cook for myself, but somebody else is going to have to do the grocery shopping. So I'm using a delivery service or a pickup service. Maybe I still want to cook for myself, but maybe the next month I can't even decide what to cook. So I have to do a meal kit delivery service, right? Maybe, okay, I need to rearrange my schedule or not take meetings as late as in the day. Like I remember I had a coaching program for several years where I was teaching chefs on how to build like high-end culinary brands and create multiple streams of income in their business. And I remember that our twice a month group call was on Tuesday nights at 7:00. And I remember thinking that is not a great time for me because I typically eat dinner at 6 p.m. And it didn't give me time to like walk around and digest the food. It didn't give me time to clean up. And I was usually preparing for that time. So I would end up eating at like 8:30 or not cooking at all or ordering something in. So I remember eventually I moved the time up to 6 and then eventually I moved the time up to 5. So that I was like, okay, I can finish the call and then I can cook and eat dinner, or I would cook before the call and then I would eat dinner after the call, because I adjusted my work life to accommodate caring for myself through cuisine, right? And I get it. Not everybody's in that place to do that. You may have, if you have a job where you have to go to and you can't control the schedule, or you have certain responsibilities. But even when it comes to your extracurricular activities, you have control over those. When I was taking dance like 4 or 5 nights a week, and it was like, okay, it's 45 minutes away each direction, and the class is 90 minutes. Like, okay, this is a 3 or 4 hour thing. I was like, well, then on the nights that I'm not in class, I've got to be cooking and preparing so that on those nights I can eat a delicious, nutritious meal beforehand. And I want to say this. When it comes to cooking at home, whether you're cooking for yourself, cooking for others, cooking for your family, your partner, your children, your extended family, whatever the case may be, what an honor it is to be tasked with the physical well-being, like of nourishing yourself and nourishing someone else, right? Like when you really step back and think of it, we can choose, if we so want to look at cooking as a chore, but we can also look at it like, look at this beautiful thing that I get to do as often as I feel called to, as often as I want to. And look at all of these beautiful side effects that come from this full sensory, escapist, immersive experience that I get to eat at the end. Okay, like let's talk about it. I get to eat it at the end. Okay, is that that's my favorite part. Like I used to tell people, when I left engineering to go to culinary school, people were like, "Oh, so you love to cook?" And I was like, it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. I don't know which came first. I don't know if loving to eat came first or loving to cook came first. But either way, they are both there, and they are both equal opportunities, cooking and eating, right? And I also tell people that I'm an equal opportunity eater. There's a lot of things I don't like, but there's a lot of things that I do like and am open to. Anyway, I digress far from the point. Let me get back to the point, which is cooking at home is a form of self-care. I've talked about how cooking is a form of community care. It's a catalyst for creativity. It is a classroom for culture. It's all of these wonderful things. But to me, it is the ultimate act of self-care. It's no different than me that if you think that soaking in a tub with bath salts and essential oils and bubbles is a form of self-care, so is cooking. If you think that because you're taking care of your skin and the water and the aroma, right? But if you also feel that going to get a massage is a form of self-care, so is cooking, right? If you feel like working in your garden is a form of self-care, so is cooking, right? If you feel like, taking the time to do your skin care and do your hair and do your own nails and all that is a form of self-care, so is cooking. Because can you see the correlation, right? It's all about something that's going to enhance your overall well-being, and cooking enhances your well-being from the inside out. Right? It's one of the best forms of self-care you can have, right? For the short term and for the long term, right? Cooking is health care. It is self-care. It is creative care. It is community care. It's all of these different things. And I really listen. It's, how people talk about like put some respect on somebody's name, like put some respect on cooking. Okay. Like it does more than just, appease your appetite. It's so much more than that. It's so much more layered and complex than that. And when you start to view cooking as this is an act of self-care that I can partake in as often as I would like, right? Maybe so versus looking at it as this is something I have to do, you can look at something, is this something I get to do? And you get to choose the level of care. You get to choose the level of ingredients. You get to choose how much time you want to spend on it, right? If you're cooking for your children, right? And I don't have children, so take this with a 50-pound bag of salt. But that is a form of caring for them, right? And that doesn't mean that you care less for them if you got to go through the drive-thru, if you got to do convenience foods. That is not the vibe of this podcast. But think about when someone has actually prepared a meal for you, the feeling that you get, right? And it's like, be that person to yourself. Be that person for yourself. I'm really talking to me here. I need to be my own chef, right? Like I need to be my own personal chef. Okay. But be my own private chef. I literally have a live-in private chef. It makes no sense, right? No, I've come a long way in getting back to cooking over the years. I talked about it in an episode last year where I talked about why I stopped cooking for 7 years. And there's a lot there, right, that I had to unpack and work through. But yeah, cooking for yourself and cooking at home, to me, is the ultimate form of self-care because it's that full sensory immersive experience. And what an honor it is to nourish yourself, your body from the inside out. Like nothing else can. Like, yes, you can take supplements and yes, you can go on a detox and you can do all these things. But like, as far as caring for yourself from the inside out, It's cooking. It's what you consume. So listen, I hope that you will now look at cooking for yourself as a form of self-care. Look at it as something you get to do versus something you have to do. Like people talk all the time about like, oh, but the dishes. Well, when you take a bath and you're soaking in the tub with the bubbles, right? You got to clean the tub out afterwards. What's the difference? Right? If you're doing your skincare and your hair or whatever, you've got to put all that product back. You got to put all that stuff back up. Right? So cooking at home to me is the ultimate act of self-care. You can either view it as a chore or you can view it as self-care. The choice is really yours. But let me know in the comments below, are you open to considering cooking as a form of self-care? And if so, let me know how you romanticize it. Let me know how you make it whimsical. For me, it's definitely music. I feel like if the hips aren't moving, the flavor ain't gonna be there. Okay, listen. I need the vibes in the food. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode and share it with a friend. But yeah, let me know, is cooking a chore for you or is cooking a form of self-care? Let me know in the comments below and I will talk to you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you're ready to start cooking at home consistently, make sure you join the Eat Out at Home Challenge. Visit chefevelyn.com/challenge for all of the details. If you're curious about what I'm cooking in between episodes, make sure to give me a follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for some delicious behind the scenes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to leave us a review. Remember, eating out at home allows you to cook better, eat healthier, save money, and create community. And most importantly, cooking at home is the ultimate form of self-care. I'll see you in the next episode.